That's great. Yo, you guys, how is it going? Today's the debate day. We are going to be, talking about a lot of things and things that Trump wants to take away and things that aren't going to be changing. Hopefully, if Biden wins this debate, it's going to bring up his chances even more to become president. And anyways, you guys, let's introduce everybody. We've got Shub Shub here, Timothais, and then we got Abe on the left-hand corner. So let's first introduce ourselves. I am food expert. I come from California. I travel the world. I try great food, and I try my best to like introduce really interesting cuisine to everybody. But it's kind of crazy time right now, and I've been introducing people to politics and stuff. So I try my best to keep everyone informed and make the right decision and vote the right person out. So Shub Shub, you can go next.
Hi, I'm Shub Shub. I have a major account on TikTok. I do have some Instagram, but it's not my priority. Generally, what I post is about French slang. So if you're interested in learning French and learning slang as well, subscribe to my account. And also, besides teaching French, I love making fun of life because life makes fun of me all the time.
Amen.
Next.
I think everyone went away. I think it's just me and you.
Oh, what happened?
Hi, darling.
Can you hear me? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Wait, I didn't mean to go for me. Lord, this is your turn now. Sorry.
Hi, how are you? I'm Lord Timothais. I am a politico and social justice creator. Come to me if you want to eradicate racism on the internet. That's it. Next.
Nice. We got Abe right here.
I'm Abe. I am in the midst of producing a film, my first actually. The title is called Won't Be Silent, which speaks for itself. And because we've had to shut down because of COVID for the past few months, I've been using the message of the film, which is also a song, to do a lot of public service announcements for the Voting Rights Alliance in DC that are very involved in, actively getting young people of color to register and vote. So it's been, it's been a weird time, but it's kind of been a fulfilling time because even though I've had to stop my, my hard project, I was able to kind of still play with it in a way that really makes sense. And I'm like a longtime activist for many, many years. So this time for us in America reminds me almost of when I was in 8th grade and stopping people from going into school because of the Vietnam War. I've been around. So it's as horrifying as everything is, I feel invigorated. And I really feel like the youth culture for the first time through TikTok is awake. So
a live stream. Oh, I'm here now.
Yo, how's it going, Matthew? Good to have you here.
I don't know what's going on. I cannot hear anything.
Oh, you cannot hear us right now? You got your headphones in? Nope. Oh, wait, we're going to just mute you for right now. Okay, so we're going to bring Matthew back very soon. Matthew is going to do his intro. And anyways, today is a big debate, of course, with all of the stuff going on with Trump and Biden hammering it out. And how do you guys feel like the debate is going to go?
Well, if you ask me, I think Trumpers it's baked in the cake. If you haven't decided by now who you're voting for, I think Biden will pick off more independents, but the Trumpers they're stuck. They have co-signed this man, and there isn't anything that he's going to say or do that's going to that we'll know about. When they go in the booth and pull the curtain, that's going to be something different. But as far as what we are seeing, certainly here on social media, they are digging in with their guy. What they do in private will probably be a different story, though.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Yeah, I'm going to bring back Matthew and see if Matthew can join us now. Hey, Matthew, can you hear us now,
Hey,
Matthew?
I can hear you now. Yes, that was
great.
completely my bad.
No, it's okay. It's confusing when you got the lavalier mic and a headphone mic. I mean, it's just all confusing, you know?
Yeah,
I'm glad you're here with us now. Matthew has got a TikTok channel that is also catering to politics and typically bashing on, you know, who. So Matthew, tell us about your channel and what made you start TikTok.
What made me start it? I mean, I started doing things that were just abjectly non-political. I used to love Vine, and I loved, you know, just making like ridiculous, stupid videos. So I started out doing that. I realized that it was a good venue to just talk to a lot of people at once about things that I care very much about, and people seemed to respond to it. So that was basically the genesis of that.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So today I have got a lot of clips for us to review and watch. And like, you know, Trump, he's done a horrible job with the coronavirus. And I wanted to cover the fact that Trump wants to get rid of our health care and he wants to give us Trumpcare, which might cost up to $2,000 per month for any typical person, as opposed to Obamacare, which could be free or $400 or $800 per month, depending on who you are, what bracket you are in. Obamacare is a lot more affordable, but Trumpcare is automatically going to be getting millions of people off of healthcare right away. So I just wanted to bring that to the Trumpers' light. Any Trumper out there that actually thinks that he is going to get a cheaper deal with Trumpcare versus Obamacare, he's greatly mistaken. What do you guys think about the Trumpcare versus Obamacare? Who wants to go first?
Potato, tomato. Really? So I don't really know what the Obamacare is about, and I really don't want to know what the Trumpcare is about. But I'm European, so whatever you do with your healthcare system always make me cringe. So this is my opinion. So I don't think I'm going to be very constructive here, except change your system, definitely.
Yeah, my opinion is that everybody should get some kind of health care. They should not be limited to a $2,000 per month plan, because most people don't even make $2,000 per month as it is, or even close to that. I mean, it's just, how can you buy groceries and buy your health care at the same time? It's just really almost impossible. And that's actually what one of my clips talks about that I'll be playing later. But so what do you guys think about this?
I mean, on the eve of the coming out of his taxes, when we know that things like the vodka was more expensive, the steaks were more expensive, the hotels are more expensive, and not necessarily made better. I used to live in New York, so I know them firsthand. I mean, just the fact that anyone in their right mind would think that anything that would have his name on it. I mean, you've got to listen to the podcast, The Daily, today, because it's all about what just was unfolded by the people who wrote the article. There's just nothing that he could do now that's going to feel like anybody should sign on to anything. And whether you're a Trumper or not, if you're an independent and you think that everything that you now know about this man is not the guide to help you put the lever for Biden, then, you know, there's nothing we can do collectively to change someone from being that insane. You know, it's insanity. It's Stockholm syndrome meets, you know, psychosis. So I don't know. We're like, we don't have a lot of chance to help those people.
Yeah, like I said on previous live, these people, it's a cult of personality. They're unreachable. They're unreachable. If you are taking away, if you want to change healthcare behind whose name's on it, and you've had basically what, 11 years to do it, and you're just going to throw a plan together in the middle of the night and call it a platinum plan for blacks, you've got yourself a problem. You've got yourself a problem. That's just like, I'm apples and oranging it here, but that's just like giving Puerto Rico all of this money when you should have given it to them at the time that they needed it most. You can't, everything that he's doing now, he's playing catch up because he knows he's losing. And if anyone supporting Trump realizes that they're the ones that are going to suffer from this, and they don't realize it, like right now, I'm tongue-tied because I can't find my words. You are literally selling yourself down the river, literally, because you want to take up for a man who you feel is an underdog. This dude is a con man. He doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
He's told you to his face he doesn't. And healthcare is only going to get worse for all of us, but it's certainly going to get worse for Trump supporters. They should know.
You guys, we just got someone in here. We got Heather GTV in the house right now.
Hi, Heather.
Hello, hello. So nice to be joining you. And I already like a conversation, so let's get going.
Yeah, so we're talking about the healthcare, how the Trumpers are going to lose a lot of their healthcare, and they just don't even know. They don't do the research, realizing that their taxes are going to go up if they have Trump in office still. Only the billionaires. If you're a billionaire Trumper, then you save a lot of money. But if you're a normal person like me, you lose your healthcare and you lose tax money. And Trump still pays only $750 in taxes.
And it's wild because since that report came out, people are just bending over backwards to defend him. And I just didn't realize I knew so many people who knew yoga. How in the world are they going to bend themselves over like this to keep on defending them? And you're right. It's a lack of research. It's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of a lot of things.
Self-care.
And just when I didn't think it was going to be possible, they found a way to even blame Trump's taxes on Obama. Did you hear them say these are tax rules that was voted in by the Obama administration that, of course, Trump took advantage of, but now it's Obama's fault that Trump didn't pay taxes? I'm just floored by these people. You know what? The verbal and the mental and the physical gymnastics that they, I swear to God, they should be the next Olympic team. It's insane. It is insane. I've got a really quick clip. It's about 1 minute long. It was in 2017, and it's in a city that's in Pennsylvania where they conducted this kind of interview with the Trumpers in Pennsylvania. I'm going to play that clip really quickly. It's just a 1 minute clip. It's pretty amazing. If you go back in time, I just stumbled across this clip today, and I was really shocked at the crazy Trumpers back then that were actually originally Democrats, but they decided to vote for Trump because they felt like they were lost in the system. They felt like Obamacare was too expensive, and they were like waiting for their health care with Trumpcare, you know? And so here it is. Here's the clip.
This county, Fulton, heavily rural, elderly, and white, went a particularly solid red. 84% voted Trump. They took a gamble he'd deliver what he promised. Healthcare is his first big test.
After he came along and he started making sense about a lot of things that I've been thinking about for years and years, the changes that have to be done, I decided to change my politics from Democrat to Republican.
Trumpcare is moving in the right direction. I believe it will.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot better than Obamacare.
What was wrong with Obamacare?
Well, that's saying it was too high. A lot of people couldn't afford it, the way I understand it.
And Trumpcare says what to you?
It's supposed to come down. It's supposed to.
Now, a key pledge on the campaign trail in places like this was that promise to repeal Obamacare, the healthcare program that encouraged, some would say forced, millions of Americans to buy insurance, and that expanded Medicaid, free insurance for the most vulnerable through government subsidies.
Next is an executive order minimizing the economic burden of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act.
Republicans have long argued it was too costly for government and premiums were too high for patients. It was repealed on day one by executive order, but this month the president produced his own plan. We came to the Fulton Medical Center to see what they make of it. Just a decade old, it puts diagnosis, surgery, emergency services and an elderly care home all under one roof. Margaret Black has spent 3 months here. Do you know what the cost will be to you?
Not completely. I won't be able to. Well, I know I had 3 trips to Pittsburgh in the ambulance, so you figure that out. What's that, about $3,000 a trip? 3,300 or something. I don't know what they did say, but it's going to be good.
Your work pays for your insurance. So
I pay part and my work pays part.
So that's a big help to you, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And if that was taken away, if your employer didn't have to provide insurance?
I would lose everything. I mean, I wouldn't have the money to pay it.
Under Trump's plan, employers would no longer be held responsible for their workers' insurance. Some believe that change is badly needed.
I think that it needs to be revamped. I think it needs to be changed. Companies that offer health care like my husband's, which we're fortunate for, that's a great thing. But there's companies out there that can't afford to pay for health care for their employees. They're going to end up shutting their doors, and that's going to hurt our economy even more.
Yeah, I mean, that was 2017, so it was a long time ago, but it was kind of shocking, right, to see that the changes, and Trump still hasn't gotten a plan together, right? I mean,
well, he's been pushing it down the road 2 weeks.
Yeah, all he's done this entire time is just deflect, like what you just said. He didn't have any intention of replacing anything. No. Mainly, his entire administration has been nothing but undoing anything that Obama has done.
Yeah.
That's practically all he's done.
And I personally am affected because I'm going to lose the health care once Obamacare is lifted and taken out by the Supreme Court. I'm going to lose my health care. So I might as well move to China because I've been living in China for 9 years. I get normal health care there. Like if I break my arm, it's $10 for me to get a scan on my arm to find out if I broke it. It's, it's maybe a $50 to get something that like a serious sickness that I have or something that.
Oh my God! Don't say that. Like China has universal health care. Like now, the Americans definitely don't want it. Don't say that.
Well, they don't have universal health care. They have affordable, normal health care. It still costs a good amount of money. Like you're still going to spend like $50 or $40 on a visit to the doctor, but it's nothing like $150 or $300. Even with copay, it's like a good amount of money here in America.
That last patient was saying that a trip with the ambulance is like $3,000. Did she say something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, how on earth is $3,000? Like you have how do you say that? Medical specialists per vehicle. The vehicle itself, you put the cost of the rent, the hours those people are paid, the oil, like the material they use. I mean, all that costs $3,000. I don't think so.
I think she's actually underestimating. I think ambulance
definitely in LA it's like
and don't think that they're going to go to the hospital that you want them to go to. They're going to go to wherever is contracted that their ambulance goes to. And sometimes that's out of the way and it's mileage. And the problem is everything's been allowed to be privatized.
But how can you $3,000? No wonder like your healthcare is like unaffordable for anyone. Like nobody can afford that. $3,000? Yeah, it's going to cost you a lot of money if the insurance are paying that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's
maybe they should learn math.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see with this election and with polls how differently America thinks about where they're getting their insurance, because most people get it from their work right now. And for the first time since the Great Depression, we have millions and tens of millions of people who don't have that option anymore. And even though I wasn't unemployed this year, I'm a contract employee, so I don't have insurance for the first time in my entire life through work. I had no idea how much it actually costs. And for the first time in so many people's lives, they're going to discover how much it actually costs if you're paying 100% of your insurance. And good God, it's a lot. And people can't afford it, especially if they're in a situation where they're unemployed right now.
I mean, it's still going to be the number one issue.
Let's talk about the real issue too. The real issue is pre-existing conditions. Hospitals and insurance does not want to pay for someone who's chronically sick. You're costing them money. You're not their ideal person. They want you to pay into it, but they don't want to pay out. That's the problem. That's the main thing these Republicans have been trying to get rid of. That element of Obamacare that protects pre-existing conditions. That is the only thing they want cut. And that is what's going up to the Supreme Court on November the 10th. This court case in Texas about pre-existing conditions, that if they get rid of that, then there are a lot of people in America going to die because there are a lot of people in fact, COVID is now a pre-existing condition.
Which is wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, they denied the fact that it was more deadly than it is, and then once you get it and you survive, now your lungs have been scraped or however they said it attacks your lungs, and your body is just not the same. And now you're not insurable because you have a pre-existing condition that the Republicans have now taken out of the provision for health care. So good luck, America. And then on top of that, there are people that don't even think that people deserve health care. They think it's a privilege and not a right. Bernie Sanders was so right when he said that. It is a right, not a privilege. It just gets me so mad. There's so many people in my family that have pre-existing conditions, and thank God everyone gets their insurance through their work. Mm-hmm. And like that last person said, I'm confused. This was 2017. This sounded like way back before healthcare. I'm confused. Are these people just not educated to how even? I bet they don't even think that Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same thing. I bet they don't even think that that's the truth.
I don't know if it's a matter of education so much as it is a matter of what we believe is possible and like the things, just the acceptable bounds of conversation in this country where, I mean, you heard people in that ad talk about how the employer provisions, the way the ACA interacted with employers had to be revamped. And the solution in that person's mind, presumably based on how they were talking about it, was not, oh, we need to have a situation in the system in which your healthcare is not tied to your employer at all. The solution was we need to tie it to your employer in a different way. And that's because we can't even conceive of a world in which healthcare is not tied to your employer, which is, a symptom of the American pathology, generally, but it's also a major issue. It's a failure of imagination. If we believe that it could happen, if it was really presented as a realistic option, then it would be much more plausible to actually implement it. But I also just wanted to go back to the Texas case, Texas versus U.S. case, because there's I wanted to talk about this because I actually am working on this and studying this in class the past couple of weeks. And what's at issue in that case is the individual mandate. So, the ACA had the provision where everybody had to buy insurance or be subject to a shared responsibility payment. And, that was going to subsidize the other people if you did not buy the insurance. That was eliminated by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So now the individual mandate is zero. The issue with that is that in Sibelius, which was the major case that went to the Supreme Court on Obamacare, it was upheld as an exercise of the taxing and spending power of Congress. So it was not upheld pursuant to any other power of Congress, but the power to tax people and spend that tax money. Now that you've gotten rid of the individual mandate, there's no longer a tax. That was the basis of what the tax was. And so now when this goes back up, it's going to be, Obamacare is going to be gutted. And the question is, once the individual mandate is gone, does that require everything else to go with it? And if it does, then, everything is just completely wrecked. But the issue is really, on that individual mandate. And by all indications, every ruling of, the now 6 conservatives that are going to be on the court indicates that it will not be severable. It will rise and fall together. But I mean, senators know that this is unpopular. They know that the ACA is hugely popular. And so when they're asked, I mean, you go look at interviews, they're asked about it. They won't say, oh, this is going to get rid of, shared, guaranteed issue or any other provision. Like, they're not going to say that because they know it's popular. And there has not, and everybody's right in saying there hasn't been a plan. There have been executive orders. And what's hilarious is the executive order, the recent one, the most recent one, all it does is say that it's the policy of the United States. It's the policy of the executive of the United States that there should be coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. Does it do anything? No.
The good thing about executive orders is that they're not law, which is why Trump loves to sign them, because he doesn't have to go through, systems. He doesn't have to go through things that he doesn't understand. He just understands, put a big giant signature at the end of something and get something done. Good news is that Biden, as our next president, God willing, can just go and erase all those things because they're not actually bound to do something.
But wasn't the idea of the individual mandate was to have the healthy pay for the sick, and then when it all got up and going, it would all even out in the end?
Well,
and certain people didn't want to pay. Healthy people didn't want to pay for the sick. Isn't that really what this is motivating all of this, getting rid of the individual mandate on top of the whole taxing of it all? And then, of course,
I think
you were fined if you didn't have, I know certain states fined you if you didn't have insurance because you had to pay an extra fine or you didn't have that earned tax credit or something to write off that you had insurance.
So now is this what this case is about? Doing away with that law? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So that was the shared responsibility payment. That if you didn't get the insurance, you did otherwise have to subsidize, because if there was no payment that you had to make, there was no enforcement mechanism. The law meant nothing because people didn't actually have to engage in it. Now that's gone. That's been gone since 2017. There's no shared responsibility payment.
Gotcha.
And the issue now is that if there's no payment, can it still be upheld as a tax? Because there's actually no revenue coming in. And if it can't be upheld, and if it's not severable from the rest of the law, which it probably, which again, it probably will not be, the whole thing will go.
I see. Got it.
All right, so I'm a layman with half of this stuff, but when you say it's going to be an individual tax, does that mean that's a line item tax that individuals have to pay annually as part of their tax return thing? You know what I mean? What is...
Yeah, I don't know what the mechanism for like the individual payment is. I mean, I assume whatever you're signing up, the same way you're signing up for your, whatever marketplace you're getting it through, it's probably tied to that or probably administered through something like that. But honestly, I don't know whether it's, I don't know what the mechanism is.
I mean, I don't want to, I'm happy to sound lame, but the word tax as of yesterday is nothing I think anyone should have to talk about, since this guy is like the biggest crook in the history of Earth. So, and for me, the most important message that I really want to convey to the world is that I believe, like with this, I still don't understand the idea of what an undecided person is by now. I can't quite grasp that, but I believe, because of COVID and because of the ACA being challenged, I mean, I'm optimistic. I think it's going to be fine, but I think that mothers are going to be the ones to put this victory in place, because they're now straddled with the kids at home. The challenge that their healthcare might be something that not only is their kid like part-time at home and whatever and all the other details. I really believe, and I've been saying this, that mothers are going to be the ones that save this country. And the world, because he has the chance in the next 4 years, if he wins, to pull off some kind of World War III just because he's in the mood. He's that crazy.
You guys, we've got another guest here. We've got Domenick XYFCenter or X. We got Domenick here. Domenick, tell us about your channel.
Hey, how you doing? My name is XYFCenter, or they call me X. My channel is basically about getting Donald Trump out of office, but I also run a live at night from 10:30 to 12:30, the East Coast time, and we basically talk about Donald Trump, getting him out of office, registering to vote, but we also tackle issues like, just like life and people that are dealing with the coronavirus and people that are going through troubles and having issues and depression and people that are sick and need help. So we kind of talk about that all in our live also. And I'm sorry if you guys are having issues with my microphone, but I'm having issues here. For some reason,
no problem. It's not that bad right now. It's pretty good right now.
Okay, thank you. And I had the camera set up on my phone and it kept breaking in and out, so it was driving me crazy. So sorry about that.
It's just I'm glad you're here. And I've got another clip for us to play actually really fast. It's a really quick clip. And it's actually Trump was talking about he was going to be having the bill in 2 weeks. And this was in July 20th or July 19th. He said he was going to have the bill ready in 2 weeks. And that just never happened. So he just makes up stuff. Like here's him with Christopher Wallace, who is the narrator in tonight's debate. And this is him saying that we're going to have this Trump bill in 2 weeks from now.
We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks, a full and complete health care plan that the Supreme Court decision on DACA gave me the right to do. So we're going to sign an immigration plan, a health care plan, and various other plans.
How will you regard your years as president of the United States?
I think I was very unfairly treated.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about that clip? It's just hilarious to me. But Heather, why don't you tell us what you think about that clip? Give us your reaction.
Oh, like I said, he's just deflecting. That's all he ever does. It's going to be 2 weeks. It was going to be, what was that? In 2017, it was supposed to come. And here we are 3 years later, and there's nothing. And it's funny. I laughed. I giggled when he said it's so unfair because we just posted a TikTok video, a drinking game for tonight, to where how many times he says unfair and fake news and hoax and all these different things. So that made me laugh because, of course, everything is just so unfair. So unfair. What's unfair is the lack of understanding of the person who is supposed to be in charge of everything. He doesn't understand a single thing about, first of all, what a real person actually needs, what a real person actually pays as far as taxes. We've discovered that this week. And he doesn't understand anything of how to fix the problems at all. That's what's unfair, is that we have a leader who is unwilling to lead.
Yeah.
Careful with the drinking game, though. You might end up having cirrhosis.
If you go look at the video, it's a complete joke because we're like, when he said, and then at the end, we're like, don't do any of this. You're going to die. So,
yeah, they need to vote first. So
exactly. Don't die first.
It really might be the only way to get through it, though.
Just take a little sip. And maybe not shots.
Listen,
I mean,
I'm going to go. I'm going to go into the debates with a clear head, and this is what I'm going to be thinking the whole time. We already know who Donald Trump is, but who are the people that are supporting him? Those are the people we need to find out. Who we need to know.
We already know who they are too.
Who they are, and when they show us, well, how are they going to mend their fences and family relationship and friendships after this is over? Because guys, Donald Trump is not going to win this thing. He will try. He will whine.
I'm scared.
If he can't win, he cannot. Listen, I'm a poll guy. I know people are weary of the polls about what happened last time, but listen. If he can't win Florida and Pennsylvania, which he is down 10 points in Pennsylvania, and I think he's down 4 in Florida, which is a margin of error. But if he can't win those 2 states, this thing is over. Going to court will be moot. It's going to be useless.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't be so sure about that because this isn't
especially after tonight's debate. When
Kamala
Harris and
Here it is. It's 2020. Anything is possible.
They just released their taxes just now. Was it a coup? Was it clever? I think so. They just released their taxes. Yeah. So naturally, the first question out the gate is, dude, what's up with your taxes? Because Chris Wallace won't let him off the hook. He never has. He won't let him. Now, he, of course, won't fact check because that's not supposed to be his role. But Chris Wallace is tough. He has never let Trump off the hook.
But that's not going to be, I mean,
it doesn't matter. I think the people who already have decided they're supporting him are supporting him no matter what comes through. I mean, it can come out tomorrow that he is a hologram and people will defend his right to be president. I mean, at this point, have decided.
Are you also forgetting about the 90 million people who didn't participate? Those votes are not Trump. They are not Trump. They're not Trump. I'm sorry. They're not Trump.
I mean,
they hated Clinton, but they didn't like Trump either. They're not Trump. I'm telling you.
The big unknown of the young people, and it's not going to have anything on this rate.
Well,
that's
my
husband to see.
My husband / executive producer, who's over here but refuses to be on camera, but he is. He's the bulk of the brains behind our TikTok operation here. He showed me something today that said that what was it? You can just yell over, babe. It was like he's literally over there.
Yo,
I'm gonna mess up this stat. This is his stat. But how many people had voted early?
860,000. At this time in 2016, it was only 10,000. So turnout would be ridiculous.
Yeah, 8,000 people voted early this time, right now, as opposed to 10,000 last time. So you're right, though. There's a lot of people that are voting now that had not voted before.
And think about it. It's their plan. It's their plan to disenfranchise Black and brown people. Why do you think they're crying so much about these ballots? When you know what, you're a bad poker player. You've already shown us your hand. You've already told us you've ruined the post office. So what do? We're not taking our ballots to the post office. We're taking them to drop boxes that Democratic governors are putting out. And then now you're taking them to court because your idea is to you don't want people to show up. Well, too bad. We're doing that early and it's pissing you off. He can't win. He cannot win. I'm sorry. He just can't win.
You're right. I do.
He can't win the popular vote. He for sure can win the Electoral College, but I just think just present the cynical view for a second. We're past the point of talking about votes and who's going to actually win the election, because the election isn't happening on November 3rd. The election is happening in December, somewhere in court. And it's not a foregone conclusion that that can't happen, because there are a million different ways that you can challenge ballots. And even if they're in drop boxes, and even if the vast majority of people vote in person, you can challenge that. And what he's going to do is challenge that. And ultimately, all that matters is whether the case will get to the Supreme Court. If there is a case to be had, it'll get to the Supreme Court. And there is a case to be had. And the Supreme Court will have a justice who is appointed. So if there is any way, to me, the only way that this doesn't happen is actually two ways. If the other conservative justices on the court, I don't know about Barrett. I don't know as much about her as I know about the other ones. They don't seem crazy. I dislike them. I think that their decisions are awful for the country regularly, and that they do good things by accident sometimes, but only by accident. But I don't think they're crazy. And I think there's a chance that they see just an existential threat to the judiciary or to the country in allowing Trump to essentially steal the election that way.
John Roberts will not go down in history as being responsible for putting him in.
And you know who else? Gorsuch won't either. Gorsuch turned out to be a big disappointment to Trump, because you know what? He respects the rule of law. He's in a stolen seat, sure. But he's a judge, but with principle.
But the issue is, a lot of these things don't come, like, it's not going to be, as clear cut to us having the views that we do. It's going to be clear cut that, if they rule for him, it's anti-rule of law. If they rule against him, it's for the rule of law. But if they rule, like in Bush v. Gore, like the ruling wasn't, Bush win, the ruling wasn't Bush wins. It was a ruling that enabled Gore to challenge another thing, but then there was a deadline and he conceded. And the reason that settled out the way it didn't present as much of a crisis as it could have, was because Gore conceded. And so, there's not going to be a ruling that says, here, Donald Trump, here are the reins of power. It's going to be some limited thing that's like in Gore, where it was, the equal protection issues with the ballots, and the fact that Florida counties and districts didn't count their ballots the same way. They had different procedures. This tiny little technical detail. That was what did it. And so it's not, to them, it's not going to feel, or it won't appear to a lot of people who are not inclined to see it this way, as this sort of anti-rule of law thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to quickly say, and the only thing that I would say, and the reason why people should be voting and why I'm not completely hopeless about voting, is that if you get a consensus, if you have so many votes, such a popular vote disparity, that the public will just not accept the legitimacy of a Supreme Court decision that essentially gives Trump the win. That, to me, is the only way. I mean, legitimacy is a PR issue. It's a matter of consensus.
That's what I was going to bring up too, because there's a vast difference too between what's happening now and what happened in 2000. That was a crisis that happened after Election Day.
Yeah.
We have had this crisis that has now been going on for the last several weeks, even months, because Trump has been saying mail-in ballots are fraud for months. And now people believe that to be fact. Even though it's not even happened yet, people are believing it. And what we've also seen is with protests in Portland and other places like Kansas, we've seen them become violent. And so my big question is, it doesn't matter if Trump wins or loses, is he going to call up those people who we already know have committed terrible murders and crimes? And we've seen the Proud Boys in Portland show up with their AK-47s. Is Trump going to bring it to that level? I'm not convinced that he won't.
I absolutely believe he will. I think no matter who wins, there's going to be a good few weeks of massive unrest, especially in the cities. And I think it's just the inevitable. As much as I think it'll be probably worse because Biden wins, because those people are out of control, and they're going to want to have their equal due as to what Black Lives Matter protests. And it's like they're like babies. Mm-hmm. So they have no rationale like that the way we have. They react.
I'm not even going to say that it's like that they're in one category and we're in another, because I've even said that if we know that this is a stolen election and it is completely illegitimate that he is our next president, I mean, at that point, I go and riot in the streets. I don't have a gun or anything like that. It's not going to be a violent situation for me. But I would be at the point where it's on the flip side, my guy didn't win. It's not necessarily my guy didn't win, but I just feel like the system was taken advantage of. The election was stolen. Here we are, like the things we talk about that other countries have, where these dictators just come in and steal elections. At that point, I'm going to get in the streets and make a fuss. So I'm not going to say that it's just one side or the other that could only do this, because I know a lot of my liberal friends feel the same way. Obviously not in a violent situation at all, but at the same time, it's that same angst of, I feel this is illegitimate.
Yeah, I feel like if Trump wins, it's going to be Putin that put him and rigged the election, got those drop boxes, or got into the electronic system. Ivanka Trump owns some kind of patents to the electronic machines, is what I've heard.
I think they're the ones that are
No,
there.
those aren't active. No, she only owns the patent. They haven't built. She
Yeah.
hasn't built any. She hasn't built any yet. It's
Okay.
odd that she owns a patent to voting machines. Why would she's a fucking.
It's very odd.
Beep beep. Sorry.
It's okay.
She's a failed handbag designer. What in the world would she be doing, holding a patent to a voting machine? It's just very odd to me. And back to the civil unrest, I find it very interesting that these Proud Boys and these Boogaloo Boys only show up in cities where their status is quo. They claim they want the showdown, but they don't ever show up where the showdown could meet them, because they are all talk, and they show up in riot gear against people holding Black Lives Matter signs. That tells me all I need to know about them.
Well, because they're not actually trying to exercise any right. They're trying to find black people and put guns in their faces. That is it.
That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. What's to be fearful of these guys? They're cowards. Come on, they're cowards. They mostly hit women. Have you seen these videos? They mostly hit women. It's ridiculous.
Are you talking about
women
the
to the ground? Well, all of this crap they want to show on TV with these like in Louisville, all these 300 guys that show up or 50 guys that show up in riot gear and such, hitting women and pushing women to the ground. Oh, you're so tough, really? But then you flip the script to that black militia group that Trump says we're all on the TWA flights, which, interestingly enough, how are you going to get a gun like that? It's a false equivalent. It's ridiculous. And I just don't subscribe to it at all. Sure, it'll be people pissed off. I mean, Trump stole this election. If he steals this one, what would be the difference? The point is, we're taking our eye off the ball. The shiny object is up here, but the Senate is where we need to focus our attention. We flip that. Trump is powerless.
And state legislatures. If there's one thing that I say in this that anybody hears, state legislatures. These are the places that are going to certify election results. 1,000 different things that we have no idea affect us. State laws affect us in our everyday lives far more than federal laws.
People don't realize that Trump
far more. That is where attention should be. And if you're interested in a third party sort of introduction into the system, it's going to be through state legislatures. If you voted in a municipal election, in a state election, I know here in New York, there's a very active Working Families Party that generally co-signs the Democratic candidate because they're not very big, but they have gotten candidates in, and they do exert influence in getting people elected here. But yeah, if there's really one takeaway that I would like to hammer home, vote for people in your state who are going to reliably, institute liberal policy.
I've got a clip I wanted to show you guys about kind of the gap between Europe and here in the U.S. because here in the U.S. we've got no healthcare. Like our Obamacare is okay, but it's nothing compared to France or Germany or all the universal healthcare countries. I'm going to play a clip of Trump and Christopher Wallace right now that talks about kind of the what a great job Trump did. He talks about how he's doing the best testing compared to Europe and everything. So I'm going to play that clip right now, just really fast. It's like a minute long.
You need to look at this gap. This gap represents a lot of unnecessary suffering and the death of tens of thousands of Americans.
I understand that we're going to make mistakes. This is hard stuff. Lots of countries made mistakes. But what has troubled me is that we just didn't learn from them. We weren't self-correcting. Instead, we doubled down on mistakes. And then we just gave up.
Some governors have done well, some governors have done poorly. But we have more tests by far than any country in the world.
But sir, testing is up 37%.
Well, that's good.
I understand. Cases are up 194%. It isn't just the testing has gone up, it's that the virus has spread. The positivity rate has increased.
Many
the
of
virus
those
is worse
cases,
than it was.
many of those cases are young people that would heal in a day. They have the sniffles, and we put it down as a test. The coronavirus, I think that at some point that's going to sort of just disappear, I hope. I'll be right eventually. Say this, schools have to open, young people have to go to school, and there's problems when you don't go to school too. And there's going to be a funding problem because we're not going to fund, when they don't open their schools, we're not going to fund them.
What the federal government gives is 8%.
10%, and you know what? That's a lot of money.
And you're going to take them, you know where the money goes? It goes overwhelmingly to disadvantaged kids and children with disabilities.
Let the schools...
Why wouldn't you send more money so the schools would be safer?
Let the schools open.
And will you consider a national mandate that people need to wear masks?
No, I want people to have a certain freedom, and I don't believe in that, no. And I don't agree with the statement that if everybody wear a mask, everything disappears.
Is the Confederate flag offensive?
It depends on who you're talking about, when you're talking about. When people proudly had their Confederate flags, they're not talking about racism. They love their flag. It represents the South. It's freedom of speech.
So you're not offended by it?
Well, I'm not offended either by Black Lives Matter. That's freedom of speech. And you know, the whole thing with cancel culture, we can't cancel our whole history.
What do you guys? It's just so crazy.
Of course,
Trump.
you can cancel your whole history. It's called like history is written by the winners. So.
And what do we think Germany did? What do we think Germany did after World War II?
Exactly.
The entire country is geared toward atoning and repenting for World War II and the Holocaust.
Exactly.
The entire culture. It is just unacceptable.
I mean, he's actively trying to erase history because he's another executive order and something he wants to pour through right now is taking out racism training and things like that, and taking away mandates on what can be taught in history classes in the state of New York. I mean, that's dangerous stuff right there. I do have to leave though. This was really fun. So it's the last thing I'll say. I would love to talk about this more, but this is great, guys. I gotta.
See you, Heather.
Heather, can you just introduce your channel really fast and tell everybody to just follow you? Because I don't know if we really got you very well. Like we didn't introduce you properly, I feel like. So
that's okay. I was late because again, this just never stops. This world just never stops, and there was a ton of debate prep today. But you can find me on every single platform at Heather G TV. It's just simple, just right there.
Can we find you on YouTube also?
I'm not on YouTube. That's the only one. I'm trying to get there. Maybe after the election it'll happen. Right now I'm just being pulled in so many different directions. But
I put
on Twitter, Instagram at Heather GTV.
I put Heather's information in the description down below, so you can check out Heather's TikTok. She's got like 400 or 300,000 subscribers.
I wish. Not that many.
200,000?
I think we hit like 220 today, so that's not too
bad. Yeah, that's still a lot. I just forgot the numbers. It's just, the numbers are always kind of wishy-washy for me.
Same to me too. No worries, no worries. Thank you guys so much. This was a great conversation.
You, Heather.
Bye, Heather. Cool. And Lord got kicked off. I'm trying to get him back on. He's coming back on soon. Anyways, you guys, I've got one more clip because I'm focusing on, European healthcare and what it really means to a pandemic compared to America's healthcare. Even with Obamacare, we're not the best healthcare. We're very far from it. And that's why we really failed when it came to the healthcare system. In France, what's it like when you go to the doctor, Shub Shub? Because you would know. Growing up in France, what was it like?
So the thing is that people, when you work, you pay taxes. You pay a lot of taxes, but most of these taxes go to healthcare, basically. And so what happened is that when you go to the doctor, you just pick up your favorite doctor, you talk about your problem, he gives you prescription, and you leave. And that's it. And you pay him with a card that is that is issued by Social Security and healthcare system. And money is already in there, and you just pay with this card. And everybody has this little plastic card with them. And same for going to the pharmacy and you pick up your prescription. Same going to the hospital. There are things that are more expensive because not everything is free. For instance, like they were only willing to pay for generic medication, not a certain brand of medication. Like there are lists of medication you're allowed to have it, and generally they cover all medication, generic medications. And I mean, and same for everything in the hospital. Like if you follow the treatment of one doctor, they will cover that. But if you see a second specialist, they only partially cover that. They cannot pay for everything. But still, at least like you will not lose your house if you happen to be diagnosed with cancer. So.
And I want to go to Domenick right now. Talk about what it was like during the lockdown in New Jersey, because you were in New Jersey. It was, of course, hit very hard by the coronavirus. What was it like during those couple of weeks? It was I'm sure it was scary, but what was your take on it?
It was tough. I mean, you know, because we have Newark Airport, we got JFK, we have LaGuardia, we got everything that came in. So it was kind of like, you know, just crazy because, you know, I think the disinformation from, you know, the White House, you know, let things get worse than they needed to. If they would have jumped on top of it from the beginning, I think we would have been in a better situation. But I mean, you know, it was rough. Everybody, you know, kind of locked down. Nobody went out. It was very stressful, you know. People, you know, a lot of jobs were lost. A lot of places were shut down. You know, there's a lot of places right now that used to be there that aren't there anymore because of this. And I think it could have came, if it would have been done correctly from the beginning, I think that we would have been in a better place. My thing is, I think because since it was in a election year, that you know, Trump was more worried about the election, and he knew that if he didn't give the right information, that people would, you know, things would panic basically and cause issues. People would lose their jobs and everything. So I think that he kind of tried to, you know, hide the fact to keep everything, you know, as forward going as it could. And then when he realized how bad it got, you know, it was too late. And people had to suffer. People suffered more than if he would have took it, you know, for real from the beginning.
Where in New Jersey are you?
Lord is back. We're really glad Lord is back here.
I don't know what happened.
I'm in Union County. I don't divulge my location because unfortunately I get threats all the time.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So that's not as far as I'll go. I've had a lot of threats in my comments about, you know, we're gonna find you and this, that, the other thing because they don't like the fact that I don't like Trump. Unfortunately, that's something I deal with. But I've got
a video comparing the European lockdown and the kind of non-strict, relaxed American lockdown, because America only locked down around 39%, maybe 50% or so, but Europe, they locked down 80-something% or 90% of everything was locked down. They took draconian measures and they did everything the right way. And that's why it took so long for them to kind of have a little bit more cases, but they're going to lock down before they get more cases. So it's really a good thing that they had the stricter lockdowns in Italy and France and Germany. In UK even had very strict lockdowns, sometimes a little bit too strict in my opinion, but it really worked. Here is a clip comparing Europe and America.
They don't test like
we test. Is it possible
test.
that they don't have the virus as badly
No,
as
it's
we
possible that they don't test. That's what's possible. We find cases, and many of those cases heal automatically. We're finding, in a way, we're creating trouble.
A lot of people say this is because we don't have a national plan. You talk about states. We don't have a national plan. Do you take responsibility for that?
Look, I take responsibility always for everything because it's ultimately my job too. I have to get everybody in line.
If you look over here, you can see these dark blue areas, which represent countries that shut down by up to 80 to 100%. This means they weren't going out, they weren't shopping, they weren't going to cinemas, they were staying home like the government implored them to. Austria shut down by 64%, France by 80%, Ireland by 83% of all of this movement shut down in the name of beating the virus. Meanwhile, over here in the United States, we're at about 39% on this same day in late April. We never really shut down.
One of the basic things about this pandemic is that if people really do take it seriously and for 4 weeks or 6 weeks do adhere to stay-at-home orders in the way Europe did with 90% of the of travel shut down, then the virus is stopped in its tracks. Other countries did it, one after the other. The U.S. was never able to do that. We fought the virus, and the virus.
Yeah, I mean, the virus won, literally. And it's going to win the United States even more as the temperatures get cooler and things get a little bit more chilly in the Midwest. I think in Chicago this week, you guys have got a cold front, correct? and in New Jersey, Chicago, I mean, you guys are feeling a little bit cold right now, right?
Yep, a little.
It's still warm. We're in the 70s, 80s. We're still not that cold yet.
It's just, it blows my mind. Like, we had all summer to get coronavirus under control, and we never did. It's completely raging here in California.
Well,
in another couple months, when it gets colder here, we're gonna be seeing a lot more corona, and we're not going to be allowed to go to anywhere. To another country is going to be out of the question. We're going to be stuck in our own country.
Well, Bert,
we had since March. We knew that we were going to be in this situation. And look, the schools weren't prepared. Businesses are still not prepared. So many businesses still don't know what to do, even when something gets loosened up. It's just really, it's going to be a never-ending cycle for more than just this winter, because we have 350 million people not willing to get on the same page. And it's the challenge for me, again, is regarding the vote, regarding November 3rd. I mean, we have to get people marching like Black Lives Matter march, like the Women's March did it in 2017. We have to do a national march to the ballot box. These indivisibles and all these organizations that know how to rally quantities of people like they did when they were putting kids in the concentration camps back like last year, that was like so effective. We need to have a national march to the ballot box. And if that's not the recurring theme, especially with all this bogus kind of, all the fake news that Trump's throwing out, I mean, the people have to be able to be the ones to make the last stand. I mean, I just think that that's all of our responsibility. And I don't know. I can't watch that Chris Wallace interview without knowing that Chris Wallace tonight knows what a jerk he is. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be really interesting to see him like temper down, like just how much he's going to needle him, because he doesn't like the fact that Trump has goofed on him too.
But that's the position we're all in. We know this guy is not equipped to be president. We know he only listens to the voices in his head and maybe one or two people from Fox News. He's never been ready to be president of anything, really, if you want to know the truth. And is there any wonder why we haven't gotten a hold of coronavirus? He's told people from the jump that it was nothing to be afraid of. And look where we're at. He's made political the masks. He told governors to just do whatever you want to do in your own state. And then when the numbers came in the way they are, he held that against them. Dude, you can't win with this guy. It's orange, it's orange. No pun intended. If it's red, it's red. I mean, this dude, he's only the president of red states and people who like him. Everybody else can just go and do whatever hell they want.
Him and
because I told you, you just didn't listen.
They're murderers.
I mean, come on.
We saw Jared Kushner. There's a report. Jared Kushner was quoted. He said, "Well, Cuomo didn't pound the phones hard enough, and his people suffered." Like Cuomo didn't pound the phone hard enough. I mean, they're feeding us this idea that there is no federal capability for a response, that's just how our country works, the states deal with it. That's not true. That's not true. There is a law, there is literally a law enabling the Surgeon General to make decisions in a time of a national health crisis. And it specifically states to avoid a virus or some sort of pandemics or something like that spreading from state to state, make and enforce laws. That falls under the authority of the executive branch. It is not because we couldn't do it. It is because he did not want to do it. And he did not want to do it because he wasn't going to get him reelected. If we could convince, I mean, the best thing we could possibly do for this country is shrink ourselves down to the size of a fly, fly into his room in the White House and whisper in his ear at night until we can convince him that getting a hold of coronavirus would be good for his reelection chances. At this point, it's too late. But that is the only, I mean, there is absolutely no actual external justification.
Hold on, I don't understand. Like you said, the Surgeon General is the one who is supposed to make decision on what each state's supposed to do, not the president.
So the president has a wide range of authority on things, and things ranging from invoking the Defense Production Act, that people were talking about back in March and April to produce ventilators and PPE, to using federal funding, putting conditions on federal funding so that governors will have to meet certain sorts of, health criteria or testing criteria. There are just a number of ways the president can do things. I was just mentioning one specific law, and I think the citation, I think it's 24 USC 264. And that's just one example of one law that allows somebody in the executive branch the specific power to make and enforce regulations when something like that.
Matthew, they let a man who knows nothing do everything.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened. And then he bullied the CDC into watering down health warnings to America so they can open America that wasn't ready to be opened. And this is where we are right now. We're playing whack-a-mole. We're playing whack-a-mole with this thing at every state because people travel from one state who's healthy to a state that's bad, and then we're just going to whack-a-mole this all the way over until we get a whole new administration to finally make some adult decisions around here.
To be fair, which I don't want to Trump, it's not only him. He's a stooge. It's the people behind him. It's McConnell, Pence.
Oh, yeah.
They all have the blood of 208,000 people on their hands. They're murderers. Needs to be spoken that way. Needs to be talked about that way.
Yes.
McConnell is as dangerous as Trump. And I don't know where friggin' Amy McGrath is, but she better start getting on some MSNBC airtime because taking Mitch McConnell out is as important as, and taking the Senate is tantamount to getting rid of Trump.
Yes,
because
that's my plan E. I keep telling people we have to flip the Senate because if Trump wins again with a Democratic Congress, he's useless. He's useless. In fact, I'm not all too certain that they won't re-impeach him again because there's still 4 articles of impeachment that they haven't sent over. And now knowing what we now know, he's a deadbeat con man who hasn't paid taxes. We're just going to hand him over to the state and Tish James and here, sister, you can have him. We don't want him anymore.
I mean, I actually hate to defend McConnell at all. I do think this one's Trump, and I'll tell you why. I think McConnell is a terrible person, but he's not an idiot. And if he were actually in charge of the response, if it was put up to him in March, you can make the decisions. I think what he would do is one, do whatever he could to ensure re-election for Republicans and so that he could appoint more judges. And 2, I think he would actually try to coalesce federal power in a way that would benefit him, which is not what Trump did at all. And I think that what McConnell's doing is now executing and defending a policy that was only enacted because Trump is a third grader and made his decision on what he was going to do based on whether he was going to continue to be interested in it and what made him feel good and what made him feel bad. And McConnell has to operate within that scheme because he is the president. He's not going to go against Trump. But if I had to guess, I would say that if he actually had exclusive decision-making authority, he wouldn't have done it the same way. That's not a defense of him. That's just
No, I'm sure because he has a brain where the other one has done so much coke. So much, Adderall, his brain is completely gone by now.
It's far more dangerous that he has a brain, Tom Cotton, Tom Cotton in 2024, you'll have a successful demagogue.
Oh my God.
I thought it was really hilarious that Trump really wants Biden to take the drug test, because I just think that Biden should have told them, you know, if I take a drug test, you can take a drug test too, and we can do it in the same room. And, you know, it's going to be played fair, because, you know, Trump is going to go in another room and not do the drug test fairly. I know that because I know he's on drugs. How can you be Trump and not be on drugs? You know when he's off the drugs because he messes up a lot more. The drugs help him function. I mean, whatever he's on, if it's the white stuff or if it's Adderall, he is functioning so much better.
This man successfully had a series of mini strokes right under our eyes, and we witnessed it happen, but no one paid attention to it until he made it slip himself. I didn't have a stroke. I didn't have a stroke. No one mentioned anything strokes but you, sir. That's what I'm saying. He's a bad poker player. He tells you what's in his hand all the time. You just got to go with what he says because it's the truth. And did you see what Eric Trump said today? I mean, he's the useful idiot of the family, I must say. Did you see what Eric Trump said today? They went on this pro-gay push about the LGBTQ family and how they love Donald Trump and how he says, I'm a part of that community and I love it too. It was the biggest gaffe ever. It is floating around social media. You have to see it. They've made new videos of it. They've got gay pride flag. It's just the funny. I mean, we know he's not gay, but that's the idiocy of this kid. He's going to go into that deposition and give the whole farm away.
Meanwhile, I actually have to run. But okay, it was great to. I'm sorry, Abe. I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you have.
That's all right. It was just, you know.
Let's talk about your channel for a minute, Matt, and we'll do an outro for you. Basically, just tell everyone to follow your TikTok and your other platforms. Let's tell everyone to follow you. So tell us, everyone here, what your channel is all about.
Yeah, so if you want to see analysis of current events, political events, if you want to see posts making fun of people who deserve to be made fun of, namely Republicans, if you want to see funny skits sometimes, follow my TikTok. It's Matthew.Goldstein, MATTHEW.Goldstein. I have a YouTube channel that has a couple videos, and all of the other stuff is linked on TikTok. So this is great, and I really enjoyed talking to all of you, and hopefully we can do it again.
I have linked all of Matthew's content, all of his social media, including YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, to the description down below on everybody's channels. So if you're on any of these channels, you can see that in the description below, and so you can find where Matthew is.
Thank you. I appreciate you setting this up.
Yeah, we're going to do it again for sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Matthew. We will definitely have you again. It's been a really
just
great pleasure.
added you.
Perfect.
I've been following you for a while.
Hey, well, I can follow you back. That's my bad.
Yeah, I do edit one of your videos, man. You're funny.
I appreciate that. Tell my family now. I enjoy the debate. Try not to go crazy. Have a couple drinks, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Be good.
See you, Matthew. Have a good night. I just love this whole community that we're building right now with TikTok, and we're kind of like, we're able to collab. We're able to talk and like spread ideas. Even though we don't have like too many people watching, we still have 22 people watching. This whole thing is all about building the community here on TikTok and YouTube and merging the worlds together. I just think it's awesome that we are able to kind of connect like this. I don't know. It's a great community here. But anyways, yeah, I think we're running close on time. I mean, we could go a little bit longer, but I think that everybody probably wants to go eventually pretty soon. I think we can wrap.
Let me just tell everyone the best tweet of the day is E.G. Carroll that's suing Trump for raping her at Bergdorf Goodman. You know that case?
Sure.
So he tweeted this morning, so Joe Biden doesn't want to take a drug test. What do you think that is? And she tweeted to him, and you don't want to take a DNA test. So what do you think that means? So I thought that was the greatest thing of the day.
It's just a series of stuff like that. They run their mouth so much. They give you so much material to just throw it back in their face. It's just everywhere. You don't even have to look hard for it. It's just amazing to me. They should just shut their mouths, all of them.
I feel like I'm living. I feel like I'm living in a SNL skit, like for the past 4 years. Really.
Yes.
You know, the other day on Saturday. Oh, the other day on Friday, we shared this one Tucker Carlson video that was just so hilarious with his very serious face. And Domenick also saw this too. I played this. I would love to play this for you guys really fast. His face is just so serious, and he's talking about people on February 2nd, but he was talking about this on March 27th. So he's like going back to clips from February 2nd about the coronavirus, how no one was taking it seriously in New York. And it was just so hilarious. Let me just play this really fast. It's going to be like 1 minute. It's just really funny.
So you saw what's happening in New York. The question is, why is the outbreak so especially devastating there? New York City is the densest metro area in the country. That's the most obvious answer, probably the biggest problem. The city also has an awful lot of people traveling to and from other infected countries, and that's significant too. But it's not the whole story. As this deadly virus emerged from eastern China and began to spread inexorably across the globe, clearly headed here, leaders in New York not only failed to shield their citizens from it, they took affirmative and aggressive steps to increase the risk to their population. Why would they do that? Well, because they were worried far more about being called racist than protecting human lives. That's not an overstatement. That's not hyperbole. Watch the city's health commissioner, Osiris Barbett, urge New Yorkers to spend as much time as possible in crowded public places. Keep in mind, this video is from February 2nd of this year. That was long after the threat from the Chinese coronavirus was obvious to anyone who was paying attention.
The risk to New Yorkers for coronavirus is low, and that our preparedness as a city is very high. There is no reason not to take the subway, not to take the bus, not to go out to your favorite restaurant, and certainly not to miss the parade next Sunday. I'm going to be there.
Take the subway, go to dinner. People cheer. They feel good about themselves. Future generations, though, are going to watch that video with their jaws open in disbelief. How could someone charged with protecting public health so recklessly endanger?
That is so misleading.
Yes.
Because back
That
in
was-
February, the entire world outside of China didn't care about this virus. So, no, this is completely misleading.
The question, though, even though they knew, even after all that was said and done, even after they knew it was still deadly, they still downplayed it. They still picked up that banner and ran with it. So he's, I think a judge ruled that the Tucker Carlson show is not real news. I think that's a matter of record.
You guys, it was just so funny because that was on March 27th was when that aired with the Tucker Carlson show. And he decided to go on a tangent on people that happened to not know how serious it was. Donald Trump just did a travel ban 3 days earlier with China, but it wasn't a real travel ban. He only stopped the flights coming in from the Chinese nationals and the foreign nationals. He didn't actually stop the flights for the other people that are American citizens. So it's completely useless of a travel ban. We got our first coronavirus case on the 22nd of January, and we had a lot more than that. A lot more got through even before we knew it was here. We probably had our first coronavirus case in November, like late November. We had our first coronavirus case, is what I'm going to guess.
I don't know why Bloomberg just doesn't buy Fox News and just shut them down. I don't know why he just doesn't do it. Fox News is really what's wrong with this country. They're really what's wrong with it. I'm just saying that. That's just my opinion. They don't do any good to anyone. They're just. They could have helped the situation. They publicized the math. They could have helped save lives. They could have.
America's Russian television. It's never going to go away. It's a massive revenue stream for a lot of people. It's just not going away. We're a country about money.
I guess.
I think so. That's the thing. You cannot do anything about it because Fox News shows that they're more like an entertainment channel than anything else. Is the people who choose to follow Fox News, and they don't like see the difference between what is real and what is just an opinion. So, it would be a waste of money for Bloomberg to do that, in my opinion. Otherwise, he would have to do that to shut down Fox News, and I would suggest shutting down CNN as well, because CNN is playing the same game but on the other
CNN is
spectrum.
so guilty of the same.
Yeah.
You know, but with the help of Fox News, they took Donald Trump's message and literally made news fake. Doesn't that bother you guys? They literally made news fake.
That's the thing. It's not a news channel. It's not a news channel.
I know, but
it's an entertainment. It's the people who believe it's a news.
But what I'm saying is they perpetuated a man saying that news is fake through Fox News. They're responsible for the division we have in this country. They're responsible, whether they're news or entertainment. They should be held accountable for what they're saying on their airwaves. And I think they should be held to a higher standard. I mean, they are news from 11 to 4. They are real news. Mm-hmm. And then from 4 to 9, they have all those opinion shows. I really think that they should be somehow held to. There's crimes against humanity here. There's crimes against humanity.
I learn more about what's happening in the world on TikTok than I do from either MSNBC or CNN. I mean, I don't watch Fox.
Oh, well, you knew why he wanted it shut down so bad.
Smart people on TikTok shedding little tidbits of information, stories that you would never see. I mean, for the most part, even MSNBC, they have the same 5 people saying the same top 2 stories for the entire evening. I mean, I've completely eliminated. I give Rachel a half an hour and goodbye.
I don't trust the news whatsoever. And I'm not saying that because
but that's sad.
So yeah, I know it's sad, but have you read the book Trust Me, I'm Lying by what's his name? Ryan something. But I don't remember the author's name, but he is absolutely great in uncovering like the dirt relative to the big news, the news industry. So basically they only rely on smaller newspaper outlets who in turn relies on small bloggers to get the news. And that's the reason why you see the same news like spreading over like every channel, every platform, everywhere. It's because it comes from the same sources, but they just like twisted in the way that would address their viewers' concern, basically, or just like to be more appealing to the viewership. So there's this entire manipulation of selling something because it keeps viewers like on your platform, and it increase like the sponsors to pay you more in terms of advertising. It's all money generating.
Yeah.
There's nothing like completely true. If you want to read something very true, you turn off every media outlet you have and you read like some past book, the old-fashioned way. That's the only way you can figure out like what is actually true from what is actually like invented, because there are things that us as human beings, we perpetuate through times that are real, and others that's just like an outlier through time because like a period of time or political circumstances allows that. But yeah, I don't trust the news whatsoever here. It's always biased. And especially recently, because not only I don't learn anything new, it's always the same news every day. It's either like COVID related or Trump did something dumb. Like, please, like I'm sick of that. It's been 4 years.
Horrible.
So let's just read something else. Like, don't listen to the news. It's always like the same garbage.
Right.
I just thought that clip was just hilarious, though, because Tucker Carlson is just such a hypocrite. Because during the same time, like during February 2nd, even 10 days after February 2nd, Hannity was calling coronavirus a hoax, and Tucker wasn't even covering the coronavirus hardly at all. I mean, they just thought coronavirus was something in the background, which I thought coronavirus on like January 2nd, I heard about it for the first time, and I thought it was just a very small percentage of a chance that this could be like SARS 2.0. But this was bigger than SARS. This was bigger than the original SARS, that's for sure. SARS was a big deal, but it was not as big as a big deal as this. That's because we had we had President Bush during SARS, which President Bush, he read a book while he was on a vacation. He read a book while he was in the presidency, and he made a pandemic plan. So he read a book about the 1920 flu, and he knew that he wanted to learn something from that, and he made a pandemic plan, and then Obama added to that plan. So they made a whole manual. And you know what Trump did to that manual when he came into office?
He burned it.
Right in the trash.
He just threw it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I were to ask Trump one question, just he and I right here in this room, what possible benefit could you, that I can't even speak, I'm sorry. What possible benefit could you have possibly gained from not telling the American people that there was a deadly virus coming that you could breathe in through the air when you knew that it was? Don't you know you would have shored up 4 more years had you done the right thing? We know you're an asshole. Oh, beep. We know that you're a jerk. We know that you're selfish. We know you have no empathy, but do you just not care about people?
I would
He's the president of all of us. I just want to ask him that one question, just one-on-one. I just want him to look me in the eye and tell me what he actually was thinking in that moment. Why wouldn't you not want to save people's lives? You want to feel like a hero, right?
His brain is fried. I am telling you. When I lived in New York City, I was part of an organization where Donald Trump's brother, Robert, the one that just passed away, his wife at the time, Blaine Trump, was the kind of she was like the JaYoe. She helped us raise all the money for this. It was an AIDS service charity that we worked together with, and he would show up at our big events and was such an asshole. And he ended up becoming very competitive with her. It was a whole long story, but he used to always be running to the bathroom. He's like a snorter of Adderall. I know he doesn't do cocaine, but it's Adderall and some other concoction that doctor of his, remember when he was first that doctor,
that crazy looking one, yeah.
Feelgood. That's like the Dr. Feelgood of New York City. Like for anyone to think that he is so fried. He's been doing drugs for like 40 years. I mean, imagine if you did drugs like just about every day to sustain yourself. Needless to say, the 2 hours of hair and makeup, you know what I mean? All
that he successfully wrote off to the American people.
Never mind. Anyway, so we ended up that on a happy note.
Yeah, I guess let's close off. But before we close off, we need to talk about everybody's channel and close off on the right way and wave goodbye to everybody. But first, we need to talk about everyone's channel. Let's start off with Domenick. Domenick, let's talk about your channel really fast as a closing.
Sorry, guys, I didn't get into too much tonight. I'm having some issues with my computer and stuff. I wasn't able to see the videos or anything, so I got to figure that out next time. But my channel, like I said, is basically to give a place for people to come and feel welcome. We are a blue room. We talk about getting Trump out of office, moving forward, racial rights. We talk about moving on the future, and just taking care of each other. I have one of the people that come into my lives is a nurse that has the coronavirus right now. I'm actually worried because I haven't heard from her in a couple of days, and the last time I spoke to her, she wasn't doing too good, and she's young. So all these people that say that it's only old people that get sick, she's like 35 years old, and she's suffering right now. So everybody put on a mask, wear the mask, be safe, take care of each other, show love to one another, and that's what we're about. Just getting the truth and the positivity out there and trying to help people out and getting Trump out of office.
What's your TikTok
handle? I'm sorry?
What's your TikTok
at XYFCenter.com. At XYFCenter. Sorry about that.
It's all in the description below, actually. It's in the description. So you can find everyone that was here today, and actually everyone that was in the past ones are also down below too. But I show everybody who's on the top here that are here right now.
My videos once. So
I don't have it down below, so maybe you can text me later, Bert, okay?
Oh, did you say Lord duetted one of your videos one time?
Yeah. It was the one that it was like, it was like the one that said something about Santa Claus delivers this much, and then
Oh
why
yeah.
can't also yeah, you were kind of below and you were up top. Yeah, so you used that video. So I appreciate that because I'm sure I
No
got
worries.
Thank you so much.
Sure, no worries. I
Thank
tell
you,
you,
guys.
I follow it. I'll do it. Anything that's funny. I'm sorry if it has a point, it's going up.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love how such a small world it is here in TikTok. Like everybody big and small like has duetted someone's video. It's just a lot of fun. Okay, Shub Shub, tell us about your channel and your new YouTube channel that's going to be launching soon. Let's talk about
TikTok channel, it's mostly for entertainment and learning some little French. You can listen to my very lame jokes or my roast. People like it for some reason. Otherwise, like I'm going to start like a YouTube channel pretty soon. I still need to shoot that first video of mine. And it's going to be very interesting for TikTok account owners to help them grow their channel. So stay tuned.
That's great. And Lord, tell us about you one more time because we got fresh new blood here in the audience.
I am, of course, Lord Timothais. I'm on TikTok for fun. Of course, I do political stuff. And as of late, I am eradicating racism on the internet. So out of that has born TimmyNationInc.org. It's a website that combats racism on the internet. So check me out on my YouTube channel where I just vent about all the other social media platforms. All right, that's it.
And Abe, let's talk about your TikTok.
So I've been on for like maybe 2 months now, but I really love it. It's Won't Be Silent. That's the handle name because I'm doing a film with that title about speaking up against oppression and injustice. And it's through music. It's all about the music of a protest. And so that's the name of that. My name otherwise is just Abe, whatever. And I have it also. I'm just building, again, Won't Be Silent YouTube channel. I have it on Instagram. I've been thrown off Twitter because I cannot stand Candace Owens. And obviously they thought I was inappropriate. But I don't miss it. So whatever. And TikTok is just fun. So I'm just enjoying every day that I'm fortunate enough to still be here on Earth. So that's my story.
Very cool.
Follow me, whatever. You know, I have to say that, right?
Okay, so I'm the last one to go right now. I'm gonna do my spiel. My name is Food. Actually, no, sorry. My name is Bert. My channel is called Food X Bert. So FOODX, just as an X, the letter, and then BERT is my name. And I decided to make it so it's funny. So Food X Bert is my name. And I just love to travel the world, try different foods, and explore. And the only reason I'm talking about political stuff and all this mumbo jumbo is because I cannot stand what happened with President Trump. And I had to do my best to get him out of there. And yeah, that's what I do. I'm going to be going to Albania in about 2 weeks because I don't want to be stuck in the USA when Trump becomes president. I'll probably lose my health care and I don't want to get coronavirus. And I mean, anyways, just follow me on YouTube because it will help me out a lot. I'm almost at 10,000 subscribers. So if you guys can help me, every single one person can help me a lot just by subscribing to me. Once I get to 10,000 subscribers, I will be in a whole new bracket on YouTube. And I'm only 80 away or 90 away from that goal. So anyways, let's all say bye to everybody and just enjoy. And just everybody, thank you for coming today. It was just so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Bye.
Appreciate it. I'll see you on TikTok. Thank you guys.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.
See you later.
All right, Bert, man. Have a good one. I had